Quick content warning before we start this episode. We talk a lot about giant bugs and giant spiders. That's basically the whole episode. So if that's a problem for you, you might want to skip this one. Welcome to Stitches in Time, the podcast discussing Doctor Who the way it was meant to be watched, in chronological order, one clip at a time, starting at the Big Bang and ending with the heat death of the universe. I'm Becca, the Matrix archivist, and I spent the last 12 years of my life meticulously editing the entire televised Doctor Who universe into chronological order.
And I'm Mandy, and I really thought that getting out of Florida meant that I didn't have to deal with dragonflies anymore.
So close to escaping. And yet, I'm just dragging you back in. I'm just dragging you back into the swamp here.
Yeah, I really could have used a content warning on this one.
I'm really sorry. I'll try and be better about that in the future. And also joining us, we have a very special guest. He's a TV, film, and video game writer. He's a Writers Guild of America Award nominee. Podcaster, including certainly the Game of Rassilon, but also the GM for the upcoming Good Chaotic podcast, which I'm very excited about, and also a time travel consultant. Please welcome Dan Peck.
Hello. Yes, officially a time travel consultant, as I was credited as such on my friend's short film.
I just need to know more about this, actually.
He wrote a short film that ended up being a bit of a time loop sort of thing, and me having nothing but time travel in my head, I came to him with many Post-its, and we figured out exactly, a logical paradox, sort of bootstrapped paradox. And when he asked how I wanted to be credited in the film rather than producer or writer, I said time travel consultant.
Solid.
I think it may even be on IMDb.
That's amazing.
I'm really glad that it's that, as opposed to what I automatically assumed that it was that like, oh, you were the person who pointed out an issue with the Stitches in Time timeline.
Oh God, no.
Email the Matrix archivist, and if you're correct, you're a time consultant.
We'll select one lucky winner at the end of season 1, and they'll get to re-edit it.
I'm not giving you any of the premiere files or anything. You just go for it. Good luck.
If you have an issue with Stitches in Time or think that there's a correction that needs to be made, please email joebiden@comcast.net.
Sure. Let's go with that. So today we're talking about Hyde. Again, this is the second episode where we discuss Matt Smith taking photos of stuff.
This time without his hot suit.
There's no hot suit. There's not even dialogue in this one.
It took him like a billion years to get that hot suit off, because like you gotta wait for it to cool down.
Yeah, it's gotta cool down. There's probably a very complicated like zipper in the back that it just like takes him a while to get off. Or whatever.
I think that's why the Doctor does travel with a companion, so there's always someone to do me up.
Yeah, he's never really gotten to have very flexible shoulders, so he can get it himself. Someday. One of these days.
Not a ginger, no flexible shoulders.
Yeah.
The curse of the Time Lords.
No Time Lords are double jointed, I'm sorry.
2 hearts, single joints. Can't lose.
I like that as like a slogan for Time Lords, just like something they have on the like welcome to Gallifrey like entry sign on the highway, just like
welcome to Gallifrey is that show about the Welsh football team that Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds bought, right?
Yeah.
Well, they will have already bought. The timeline on that is a little weird.
Right. Yeah. This is 300 million BC right now, so.
But still in England. I'm glad that you clarified that for us. But that did invite a question for me because again, I noticed he's no longer in the hot suit. The Earth has cooled down enough
Mhm.
that he's not going to immediately melt going onto the surface of the planet. But it still seems very tropical. Again, I'm getting like heavy Florida vibes, but they're all wearing coats and jackets.
Maybe that might just be because of being English and in
Yeah,
England.
like they're dressed for England, but the outside doesn't seem to as a person who is married to an English person who I have taken to Florida, so I've taken to an environment very similar to that, and we've seen a dragonfly. That was
Mm.
not appropriate. They're still gonna melt in that outfit as well.
That's probably true. I imagine that this is like maybe it's like so the earth is still like in the process of cooling, but it hasn't cooled off to like England temperatures yet. So that's my headcanon. I don't know.
I think the doctor was less concerned with the outfit and just wanted to be chronologically the first person in history to ever play Pokemon Snap. Because that's what this clip is. It's the doctor takes a picture of a bug. This is, hey Clara,
Yeah.
let's go play Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
You know, that Pokemon, a regular dragonfly.
Yeah. Well, it's pre-Gen 1 because it's so far in the past. They it's going to take them a long time to start, looking different and being able to say their own names. This is Protomon.
Yeah. I don't even know if you could capture that dragonfly in a Pokeball. I just don't know if that would even work.
If there was just 2 more seconds of the clip, we would have found out.
Yeah, I do have to appreciate them not doing like they resisted the urge of it. Like we're back in time. What does a proto dragonfly look like? Just like a regular dragonfly. Looks
just
pretty normal. They
just
don't need to change, but they got it in one.
just real big. It's just a big one.
Was it
They
big? I
probably
just
filmed
thought it
this
was
in like
close up. Was it big or was it close up? I thought it was close up.
they probably
Oh
filmed this
no.
in like the gardening section of like a home supply store because it's so short. It's like, do we really have to build a set for this? We're just gonna CG in a bug. Like, let's just. I
Was
don't know
it
the equivalent of Home Depot or anything.
does
But
it count as a set if you just put some leaves around?
yeah, oh yeah, the greens department. Yeah,
It was
you got to
it
credit
was
them.
it was very much like I have seen ASMR videos with the same level of set building. Like we're just gonna put some leaves around the camera and just green screen the back.
Yeah. That's how you make movies, Mandy.
Yeah, maybe it was actually even just shot in like the where they keep the sets at the like they didn't even put it onto a soundstage. It's like someone grab your phone here, Matt. Go in there. Okay, next shot. Okay, moving on for the day.
That's so true. One of the so I work in film production, and one of the lighting guys I work with a lot will just sometimes grab like a tree branch or something and snap it off and stick it on a clamp like on a stand in front of a light just to like kind of create a gobo shadow effect. Just like it's a good that's a good kind of little run and gun technique there. So this is that, but they did that on everywhere. They had the budget for 1,000,000 branches.
The branch fidelity, unlike any we've ever seen before. I should be stumbling through an E3 presentation or something like that when I say that.
Branch Fidelity does sound like a credit union.
Here at Branch Fidelity, our fidelity at each branch is okay. Wait, can we get a rewrite on this, please?
0% APR.
Oh God, this is every commercial that plays during football is that basically. Oh my God, I just had like, oh, it's fall all of a sudden now.
Well, that's what they're filming. They're filming the first football commercial.
Dragonfly Bank. All right, well, so apparently this is a point of contention. I thought it was a big dragonfly. Mandy thought it was a close-up dragonfly. Dan, you have to be the tiebreaker in this.
I think it's regular size. I think it's a forced perspective.
Really? Oh my gosh. I thought it was big because it was like...
If it were big, I would have needed to quit this podcast. I really don't like dragonflies.
Oh no.
I think they have dragonflies out here in California, right? I'm not outside enough to know, but in
I don't
Florida,
know if
I feel
I've
like
seen
they're
I mean,
everywhere.
there's got to be some dragonfly that's trying to make it in the biz. So yeah.
In Florida, they are everywhere and they get right up in your business.
And that's not even the most dragon-esque monster in Florida either. Like you have alligators. Like dragonflies, it's lazy.
Yeah, but alligators, like, we're kind of in an agreement. They don't want to hang out with us. I've talked about our annual post winter. Everyone pulls back the pool covering, and you have to kind of be careful because we don't know what's been living in it. Because there's been plenty of times that someone gets a gator in there, and
Is this the
sometimes
Florida State Lottery?
yeah. And sometimes there's a bunch of traffic around the Walmart because a gator decided to take residence in the retention pond. But I was like, they're going about their business. A gator does not really want to mess with you. Uh, a dragonfly does.
That was, I mean, we had dragonflies in Connecticut, and I know you're an East Coast guy, Dan. I don't know what you're
New
like.
Jersey. I'm
Yeah.
in between the two of you.
Yeah. So I'm sure, yeah, we had like some summertime dragonflies. I remember like playing baseball and trying to wave them out of my face in the outfield or whatever.
Yeah, it's they're in your business. They are very in your business creatures. Which so I don't know why they needed to go out of their way to try to like, oh look, there it is. I'm like, it's gonna dive right at you.
Yeah, do you think this is like an inaccurate portrayal because it's just like minding its own business, even though Matt Smith and Clara are clearly right there?
Well, maybe this is what started the war. This is why dragonflies hate us. Because it was
Oh,
minding its own business. And
all
then they
right.
come up and they take its picture without permission.
Yeah,
They didn't even ask.
this is dragonfly paparazzi.
They're probably not even going to credit the dragonfly in this photo.
I don't know why they're taking, because before, like last time, they were taking pictures of lava, and now
Mhm.
they are taking pictures of dragonflies. I have to assume, because our previous thing is we saw that fish with the legs that we also know was River Song. Do not forget, the fish was River Song.
I forgot
It
that we said that.
maybe they're just like they're having to look and be like, okay, well, we have to make sure that she's not a dragonfly now. So we got to check it. We know that she can't resist a good picture of herself.
Matt Smith is just taking photos of every tiny creature to make sure that it's not secretly River Song in between regenerations or something. Good man. Good work that he's doing there.
Devoted husband.
It's so true. Dan, what is your experience with Doctor Who? How'd you get into it? What made you become this person that has
Oh God, I ask myself that question every day. I actually caught the '96 movie when it aired, not knowing what it really was at the time. But there were commercials for it during the week before on Fox. They had a TV movie of Generation X, and this was like at the height of I want everything X-Men. And they was like, oh, there's Doctor Who next week. And I was like, I feel like I've heard of this before. So I saw it, and I didn't remember like anything about it except for the atomic clock. Like forever, that was all I remembered. And then about 10 years ago, came to it, and yeah, and now I'm this ravenous fan that you're all stuck with now.
That's awesome. I love that for you and for us, honestly.
And now I'm going back. I'm still in the midst of my. I know it's sacrilege to talk about the BBC Order on this podcast, but I'm making my BBC Order trek through the originals, and I'm still early days for the Fifth Doctor, but getting there.
Okay, that's pretty good progress. I mean, yeah, the Fourth Doctor there's a lot of that, so very yeah, that's good. I'm impressed. Now how much of the Stitches in Time edit have you watched?
I've listened to every available episode on the podcast so far. So
that's true. You are an avid fan of this podcast. Probably more so than either of our other guests who set the bar
I don't know. At
extremely
every
low.
at the monthly meeting of the fans, I mean, like, it's really hard to fit all 10,000 of us into the meeting space, but we make it work. I mean,
Yeah.
Listeners should note that he hosts the fan meeting in a room of mirrors, a funhouse mirror.
we're a good-looking bunch. We all kind of talk over one another, but we have a lot of nice things to say.
I bet you have a lot in common. That's like, it seems like a really good community.
Just don't get used.
I mean, no promises. I mean, that's not really up to me.
That's up to Lupita Nyong'o.
Don't get used is just great advice that we should just start, like, bye, see you later, don't get used.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I have nothing more for this episode, so if either of you, this might be a shorter one, because it's a short clip and also it's an episode that has appeared before in our podcast, so
I do want to say, I know that the title of this episode is Hide. They're really not doing any hiding. They're doing a lot of seeking.
Maybe it's the dragonfly that's hiding.
Okay. I mean, that would make sense.
I found you.
Also,
that's why they do the...
Do we think that the lava was the dragonfly? Like, was it the same lava? Have they been going in the same place, or did they go somewhere else?
In my heart, I think no, but intellectually, I also think no.
Well put, Dan. They are taking the way that this works into the silly BBC order is that they are taking a photo of the same point, like in space, like several million years apart.
So that's why you know that it's England.
Yeah,
because they don't say anything.
No, they don't.
It's just presumed, unless otherwise noted, they're probably in England.
I mean, that is also true for Doctor Who, but yeah, generally I don't specify a country unless I know what it is, definitively, but also most of the time it's England.
Can you also talk a bit about the timing of this and how you came to that timing? Because if I were to, just looking at the clip, have put a time for this, I would have said 2007 Florida. The Jacksonville Zoo.
Okay.
Exterior zoo.
Well, see...
Or I can also have it at 2002 Orange Park Soccer Field, Florida, where Mandy has to play a soccer game, but actually just going to pick dandelions, and a dragonfly is going to really hate that.
Oh no.
The dragonfly was just such an avid fan of the sport. Like, come on, Mandy, get back in the game.
Get back in the... Come on! Come on, defense! What are you doing out there? I got money riding on this thing!
Speaking of Pokemon, that's how my parents originally, they were like, oh, if you win a game, we'll get you a Pokemon card. And then they quickly learned that that was never going to happen, and they felt bad. So it was, if you play the game, you get Pokemon cards.
I mean, that sounds like a great deal.
Because then the goal was just, hey, maybe don't sit down in the middle of the field and decide you were going to do something else.
Okay, you have to be actively participating at least 51% of the time or no Pokemon card.
That sucks. It went for an hour, and then midway through they would give orange slices, but I didn't like oranges at the time. So it was just like, I don't get to have any snack. It was a bad time. And they would give like cheese and crackers, and to this day, I hate cheese. So it was like, okay, well, I'm running on fumes now. I got nothing.
Terrible. I hate that for you.
Yeah.
You should have just been inside watching Doctor Who the whole time.
Well, if I were, I would have just been watching this. This episode was tailor-made to be like, hey, Mandy, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Mandy.
Well, at least you didn't have to fend it off with your soccer cleats or whatever. I don't know. Just soccer's
with your soccer stick or, whatever you use for soccer.
Your soccer club.
Soccer, they would mostly spend all their time throwing a ball at your head, which I didn't like. As a person who wore glasses, was not something that I wanted to do. It was like, okay, well, even if I do these are expensive. My mom's gonna yell at me. No, I'm not going to take this soccer ball to the face. No,
I definitely took a soccer ball to the face when I was very little. And yep, everyone had to sit down on the field because I took a soccer ball to the face.
I'm pretty sure I've taken a soccer ball to the face too. It was not a good sport for me.
No.
That was
the doctor should know better.
The doctor really should. It's like, come on, bud. Okay, so you're both making me have a lot of doubts about this. To circle back to why I put it where it is, because I watched the clip again, and to me it is very clear that it is a giant dragonfly. It's maybe like, I don't know, the dragonflies I'm used to are not like a foot long and like the size of a large sausage.
I think we have a real opportunity here for a what color is the dress moment for this podcast.
Ooh. Hashtag what size is the dragonfly? Yeah.
I'm pulling it up again because in fairness to you, Becca, my method for watching this was definitely on my phone while I did my makeup for this episode.
Great. I love your commitment to our podcast, Mandy.
Let me scrub through.
Because I just found on the internet, fossils show that giant dragonflies and huge cockroaches were common during the Carboniferous period, which lasted from about 359 to 299 million years ago. Which is
damn.
why I was like, okay, giant bugs, that's probably the giant bug era. We're in our giant bug era.
Okay, I took a look at it again. I don't think that it's a foot long because I'm comparing it to the plant that it lands on. And the plant that it maybe it's a little big, like I think it's like a couple inches.
It's like a mid-size.
Yeah, like
it's a crossover. Yeah, to me it looks like it's 9 inches long at least.
Well, how big is a regular dragonfly?
How big is a regular dragonfly?
We are going to activate someone Winter Soldier style if we keep saying things like
the average size of a dragonfly is 1 to 4 inches in length.
I would say that's maybe 4 inches in length.
In prehistoric times, dragonflies were much larger. The largest flying insects ever, the largest member of extinct dragonflies, had a wingspan of about 30 inches.
I don't think it's that big.
I don't think this one is that big, but I think it's way bigger than the 1 to 4 inch long.
I think part of it is how big do we think this plant is?
Right. It's hard to say.
Can we zoom in on the camera, the doctor's camera? Check the f-stop.
Yeah,
zoom
yeah.
in, enhance.
Let me zoom in, enhance.
Because I feel like I realize it's a CGI dragonfly, but I feel like if it's that small in reality, but that big in the frame, like there was some weird like lens stuff happening. This is like very clearly to me a giant dragonfly. And
yeah, because when it comes in, it appears smaller, and then we're all gonna watch this clip together in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to leave it up to our listeners.
Yeah, our listeners who just had a great time just
listening to us watch something. Yeah. Listening to us watch something with no audio or dialogue.
I gotta let y'all listeners, like, we do frequently share video portions of this, and we might do this as well, but the video ain't gonna be better. The video will not be more helpful for you this time.
It'll actually make things less helpful for you, probably.
I will make a looping GIF of this 4-second clip and put it, and then
release it to Tumblr.
Really overanalyze it to death.
Yeah.
Which I think needs to happen.
I am willing to kind of give an in-between of, I think that it's a little bit bigger. Like, I would probably say, like, bigger than a dragonfly that I would see regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Where if I saw this, I was like, I'm not going outside today because there's a dragonfly out there that's big. I would not say like 9 inch. I did not think that it was like a massive one.
Yeah, definitely smaller than a chihuahua.
Well, I think it's smaller than a chihuahua. I don't think it's much smaller than a chihuahua, though. Like, I feel like if you held your hand out and this dragonfly landed on your hand, like, you would feel the weight of it.
No, I wouldn't. I'd immediately go.
Yeah, I would too. I don't know who I was trying to kid there.
I think if that dragonfly landed in my hand, I would die.
Dragonflies, your one weakness.
Oh, I love that you think I have one weakness. I have so many weaknesses. I'm a very weak person.
See, I would have thought that growing up in Florida and, like, I don't know, I feel like that's just a childhood full of exposure therapy, so you wouldn't be afraid of anything.
No, it's a childhood full of untreated anxiety disorder.
Yeah, I think if anything, Florida gives you the right to be afraid of things because it's not imaginary. It's all right in front of you.
That is true.
It's very similar to like that Peppa Pig no spiders episode that they can't show in Australia because they're like, no, we need to be afraid of spiders. That's a thing that we have to teach our children.
I did not know about the Peppa Pig-ness.
I did not know about this either. That's
hilarious, though.
Did you not? Yeah, so there's an episode of Peppa Pig, and the moral of it is don't be afraid of spiders, and it is banned in Australia because they're like, no, children need to be afraid of spiders.
If anything, you should be more afraid of spiders.
Yeah. Like, you are the appropriate amount. If not, be a little more anxious about them.
They should redo that episode of Peppa Pig for Australia. Just be like, here's how terrified of spiders you should be. And then just, like, give kids nightmares.
Same animation, just redub it with different actors who have Australian accents for the lines they have to change. Just absolutely poochy it. Just...
I mean,
See,
they can do
you're a lot more scared of this spider than this spider is of you. As it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they used CGI in The Lord of the Rings for Shelob. I think they filmed on location.
The spiders in Australia have you seen the huntsman spider that's like the size of a dog? It's terrifying. Do not Google it, please.
I'm not even that afraid of spiders, and I do not want to look this up. So
I'm terrified of spiders, but also I have a weird like fascination with my own phobias, so I'm just gonna Google it just to make sure that I said the right thing.
Okay.
I'm not entirely afraid of them on the off chance that I do get Spider-Man powers, because that's really all I want.
That's true.
The problem with these spider photos is that they don't have anything good next to it for you to do a size thing, which I mean is the same issue that we're currently having with Doctor Who. Yeah. They really needed to just like put a good like a prehistoric yardstick next to it, because I'm trying to gauge based off a plant. It's like, well, I don't know how big that prehistoric plant should be.
Right. Okay. The huntsman spiders are not as big as I thought they were, but still, I think just spiders in general seem bigger in my mind. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, tarantulas, they're like the size of a building. I don't know.
Spiders seem larger in my mind absolutely feels like lyrics that would have been written in the 1960s. Like, without a doubt.
And this is the Beatles with their chart-topping hit, Spiders Are Bigger in My Mind. Man, they...
Blokes, I don't think we can release this one.
And if they'd gone to Australia instead of India, that's what they would just come back with all of these horror stories.
Yeah, that's what the Peppa Pig episode was about. It was just about the Beatles song, Spiders Are Bigger in My Mind.
Spiders, yeah. So I think maybe all bugs are bigger in my mind, but maybe that's just because they're actually close up, like they are in this Doctor Who episode.
Gotta catch them all.
What do you think Professor Oak would have rated the 11th Doctor's picture of the dragonfly? Do you think he did a good job, or should he have used some of those pester balls?
I don't know. I mean, seems pretty straight on, well-framed shot. Yeah, I think it's one of the easier ones, maybe at the beginning of a run. I was never good at Pokemon Snap.
I love Pokemon Snap. That was my favorite game. And when the new Pokemon Snap came out, it was tailor-made for me. I did think that it was very funny that they took away the pester balls. They were like, no, that was kind of a messed up thing that we did. We should not be teaching children. It was like, hey, if you want animals to do something, you should bother them.
That was like in the first game in the Safari Zone. You could throw rocks at them to get their attention.
As opposed to the completely moral Pokemon world in which, we capture these animals and then make them fight each other.
Like fighting each other. It's their favorite.
It's their favorite thing.
Throw that lizard in some lava. Just throw apples, bonk it on the head, and it'll fall into lava. It's good for it. It gets bigger that way.
And it will be undyingly loyal to you no matter what you command it to do, as long as you have the badges.
I think that's my critique. 11 should throw apples at the dragonfly. Or at least, I feel like Clara would do that.
Yeah.
Maybe not at this point in the series, and I know now I'm being the one being sacrilegious and talking about the BBC order and stuff, because when they hadn't quite gotten her written, she's just like an attractive woman, and when she's with 12, she is insane, and if she had been with 12, she would have been throwing apples at that thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if she had been with 12, they both would have been throwing apples at that thing. They would have just been like going insane, and then Peter Capaldi would have just been like, all right, I gotta get a picture. Yeah, that's why I'm here.
Bush.
No, of the ghost that we don't know what they're taking pictures of yet. I don't want to spoil it for those listeners who are sticking entirely to the Stitches in Time order and not watching the sacrilegious BBC order.
For those Mandys who definitely have seen this episode before, cannot tell you a single thing about it.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Now I'm sorry I spoiled it for you, Mandy.
So we already know that they previously found River Song as a fish with legs.
Right.
And she got squished. So now they're just trying to see what she's going to be next. And so they have to check. And the way that they check is they put a picture up. And if she does like a sexy pose, then they know it's her. This one didn't really do. I mean, maybe it did a pose. They haven't talked about what happens next.
Right.
Because it did like go up against that tree all coy. So maybe we don't know yet.
Yeah. How sexy, scale of 1 to 10, how fuckable is this dragonfly?
0.
All right, Dan, you want to weigh in on that?
4.5? I mean, I don't know.
If that's River,
Solid.
she's really testing their marriage.
Oh my gosh. All right, I think we're going to wrap it up there before we get too far into the bestiality that I seem to insist on everyone talking about. Dan, where can people find you on the socials media?
You can find me at Doonpook. That's DOONPOOK. I gotta say, having the Dune movies come out has made it a lot harder for me to share that. Everyone's like, DUNE? Nope. Yeah, and Yeah, that's where you can find me, Dune Pook.
Amazing.
I like that the most recent Dune movies, that it just invented the concept of Dune spelled that way.
Yeah, Dune, I don't know if you know this, Dan. Dune is also a word in the English language.
I am, but the you know, the most
The
common
public doesn't know
familiarity
this.
right now. Yeah.
True. All right. Listeners, thanks for listening. We're on YouTube now, so if you want to see our faces move around with our voices, you can do that. Yeah, we'll see you next time for Space Babies. Bye, friends.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Stitches in Time. Music by Becca the Matrix Archivist. Art by Mandy Okendo. Logo by Ben Patton. Find us on the web at www.stitchesintie.me. Stitches in Time, but with a dot in the middle of the word time.
Did I derail things even before we began?
Yes, which is honestly a great sign.
Yeah, really the goal of this, because you see, we have like 12 seconds to talk about. Derailing is the point.
Yeah. Bye. See you later. Don't get us.
I'm thinking about, is that the title of this podcast episode? And then I'm thinking about how would you spell that? Is it USSED or is it US apostrophe D or is it something else?
US-ED.
Okay. Great.
Don't get UZ.
Don't get used. Don't get used.
Maybe it is US''D. We'll give it like the Star Trek, sort of spelling.
It's probably quotation marks I have to put around us somehow too.
Yeah, I think it, and you can't, I don't think that you can italicize the title of something in a podcast, but it should be apostrophe. But if not, then just do the quotation marks around it. It's like quotation mark,
US, end quotation mark, and then
ED.
apostrophe D.
Oh no, that's crime.
And then in parentheses after that, like the movie Us.
Yeah.
We definitely know what that movie was about. It was about fuck fun houses. Don't go in those. They suck.
They're the worst. Everyone looks the same and talks over each
Get
other.
out of a fun house.
A Funhouse Full of Dragonflies, the new Young A novel by Mandy Okendo.
It's 1 page long, and in 72-point font, it just says the word nope.
That's another Jordan Peele movie.
There you go. We made it. We brought it full circle.